Vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front.
Tell it.
What you want, what you want, what you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square solid and you circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, not areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity, tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we give the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't resist when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss, cause they get handed a check. We kick your can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginnings turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K, 1K.
Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Alive, and I'm here with African warrior hood, African warrior royalty in the building. You know, it's a beautiful time to be alive and to be living this way in a righteous manner. So we're here to set the record straight and discriminate to some feelings and some inaccuracies that's been perpetuated through a long span of our analysis of Black liberation and our direction. So I enlisted the aid of a true warrior mind who has walked this path for a few decades uncompromisingly and indiscriminate to what has stepped into her path. She has chosen us. So we continue to choose her and support her and aid her in her journey. So let's welcome back to the platform one of the boldest Black women I know in the universe. Okay, Brooklyn's own Sister Keisha in the building. What's going on, Sister Keisha? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, King. I'm doing good. Happy to be here with you and Do the Knowledge Radio. You know, when you put in the call, I never say no. Period. It is what it is. I'm ready to get to it with this foolishness we got going on out here. That's the best way I can put it. Foolishness we got going on out here. So I'm ready to get to it.
Word. So this conversation is an extension of a conversation based off of this movie that's being played out in real life. Yet somehow we need a reminder from our handlers about our history that we not only lived through, that we're continuing to live through in the organizational structure and dynamic under this family system called America. So, you know, however you want to open, you know what I'm saying, we could go from there.
Well, I like to keep it elementary.
Okay.
Sometimes, you know, when you do things, you can't go over people's head. So I like to keep it as elementary as I possibly can. So since we, you know, came together around this movie release, what is it, Judas and the Black Messiah? So since we coming together around that, we're going to keep it in that perspective. But we're going to point out some things that I hope everybody paid attention to understand why that film was released during the month of so-called Black History Month and the progression of Black liberation as it stands today. So I'm ready to get into it. Brother. Let's hop to it. You know, as the chairman said, peace be upon him, Chairman Fred Hampton. You know, he said, war is politics with bloodshed. Politics is war without bloodshed. And when I hear people say we at war, really? Really? Explain that to me.
Right.
Explain that to me. Or is there a slaughter going on and we standing by and letting it happen?
Right. Right.
So I'm definitely ready to get into it, brother. How you want to do this?
So I ask you, as a political strategist, you know, going into this movie, you know, what were some things that were glaring from your stance and recollection in regards to, you know, how the movie was set up?
Well, first of all, when this tragedy happened of the murder of Fred Hampton, it was during the height of a political season. I believe it was the Democratic National Convention that was about to take place in the city of Chicago. And there had been some murders that had taken place there prior to. I'm trying to keep it in perspective of this movie because I don't want our people to get lost. But there had been some murders of Black men and Black women that had taken place in the city of Chicago that had been blamed on gangs, if you will, the Stones and others, when it was Chicago PD who were committing these murders. And what they were trying to do at that time was pretty much clean up the city, if you will, to make it look palatable for the politicians that were coming in for the convention. And they failed. They failed. They did commit these murders. However, they couldn't keep the fire that was burning in the belly of the people, and not just Black people, but as Fred Hampton Sr. said, all people were suffering at that time. You had warring factions that had taken place in white areas of Illinois. Out in Cicero, very, very racist town. Very racist town. However, they were abusing their own. But these criminal elements weren't highlighted in the news. That's how they always do. They put what we doing on Front Street behind what they doing in the background. And this wasn't tasty or savory to Richard Nixon. And he put out the edict that things were supposed to be cleaned up down there in Illinois before the convention took place. So just keeping it in perspective with the film, and those of you who haven't seen it, after this broadcast, you should see it and then replay this broadcast again so that you can get a proper perspective of what happened. But in the opening of the film, I noticed the actors. Now, stellar, in my opinion, actors in their craft. However, the executive producers, if you will, of this film who chose these actors, maybe or maybe not, didn't realize that they were too old to play those roles, because you're looking at young teenagers, young 20-somethings, and you have actors who are in their 30s and 40s who are playing this role. Now, to be an actor, yes, you have to be versatile and be able to play different roles, but I felt that this was a slap in the face, if you will, to Black people, in particular Black youth. Anytime there's a crime that takes place with Black children, they always indicate in mainstream media that a young Black male or a young Black female, an adult male, they never equate them to being children the way they do when they tell their stories about themselves. They'll say a young white boy or a young white girl, but they use the acronyms. They use the description of men and women, no matter the age, when it comes to Black people. So that alone stuck out to me. You have to keep in mind, family, that these were, as I said, teenagers who were able to galvanize not just their communities and their neighborhoods, but the entire city of Chicago, not just Chicago, LA, New York, Baltimore. They had Panthers all over the place, predominantly young people. And whenever there's a rise in young people, the status quo, the system always becomes afraid because that is where the main fire hose. They are the front line. Martin Luther King was a young man. Malcolm was a young man. You know, these are young people. And so that puts a fear because they are fearless. Even in the film, you saw that members of the Black Panther Party, they were fearless. The males and the females, they were fearless. And J. Edgar Hoover, the devil that he is, the beast that he is, never faced a trial, never did a day in prison for all of the turmoil that he has caused the Black people of the United States. Going back to Garvey, you know, he has been a thorn in the side of Black liberation since he was put into office, and we have to deal with that aspect, that someone put in a position of power to incarcerate, to murder, to take away the livelihood of Black people with a stroke of a pen. That's real power. And we have to deal with that fact. I don't want to hear when people talk about, well, we need to move on from that. No, someone needs to be held accountable. And since J. Edgar Hoover is dead, the FBI itself must be held accountable for what it has done to Black people. And these young brothers and sisters of the Black Panther Party, they were defending themselves against an invading army. That's what police departments are. They are standing armies, right? Each state is its own government. That's why you have a governor. They are the head, like the president of each state. And so each government has an army to protect it. Each state has police departments, sheriff's departments to protect their entity. But these entities back then and today are used as terrorists against Black people. And no one is talking about that, at least not the current political status. They not talking about that at all. They keeping their mouths closed. Even these so-called activists out here refuse to say and refuse to put demands on the political status, political amateurs, political apparatus that they are, refuse to put that message before them that they are a terrorist organization. Every police department in the United States of America is a terrorist organization as far as Black people are concerned. We are the only people who can be shot down and murdered at a whim, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is accountable for that. You had two previous Black attorney generals, U.S. attorney generals, and both of them came back and said, this is too big of a feat for us to deal with. Both administrations came back. As a matter of fact, if you go back to the Nixon days, when each commission that has been formed came back and said that these police departments are infested with racism. The FBI itself said these police departments are infested with racism, and they can't do nothing for us. So basically, they telling you, we leaving you out there to die. And that's what happened in the film. That's what happened in real life. Now, if you want to get to this informant, we can. But I want people to understand that, you know, outside of William O'Neill, who was the informant, as it relates to Fred Hampton, this was a love story between Fred Hampton and his queen, a love story between Fred Hampton and his people. I want people who haven't seen the film to open their eyes a little bit and see that for what it is, because the film pointed out William O'Neill being a Judas, but we still have Judases today. That same tactic is still being used on our people today. So, you know, that's my stance on it, and we can go through it how you want to, brother.
Yeah, 1969, December 4th. We're at December 4th, and the movie takes place in the year of 1969. So we look at what was going on in the United States, what had happened to the Black Panther Party for self-defense, and how what happened with the Black Panther Party for self-defense affected the armed resistance struggle for African people, particularly West Africa being freed around that time. From 1957 to 1970 is the time span that we're looking at, with West Africa being free, chiefly financed and also by the work that was done by young black people here in America. If for the revolutionaries out there, if you read that uh, Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare by the late great Kwame Nkrumah, he was in Congaree at this time while this was going on. So these were letters that were compiled into a book, and then a book was made with these instructions of how the guerrilla fighters were fighting after they switched their tactics from nonviolent to armed conflict. So all of these things in context, when we look at it, from 1969, there was a plenty other things that happened around that time. So this wasn't something that happened in a vacuum in the city of Chicago. This was a response to repeated terroristic tactics that were aligned and maligned systematically, from the assassination of Medgar Evers, from the assassination of Malcolm X, from the assassination of Martin Luther King 1 year before that, and the formulation of the Black Panther Party for self-defense that took place in 1966. So 3 years after being in operation, a national organization being formed, we're looking at a snapshot in the Midwest after many of the leaders were jailed, killed, or in exile. So we're looking at the remnants of that revolutionary scene that was there in Chicago amongst the people who have organized there. So that's the definition of the love affair between Fred Hampton Sr. and his people, and the revolution being in the hands of the young. The bloodshed is what rallied the people together and ran some cats off, rightfully so. You understand what I'm saying? So in the context of the movie that they were showing, the reluctancy of black people to join an organization that stood in their self-defense. How did they do that? How did they accomplish that? You know, um, George Jackson, Honorable George Jackson said, unifying around realistic day-to-day needs. So what were they doing? Feeding the people, clothing the people, and policing their communities. You see what I'm saying? Realistic day-to-day needs. So these aspects of these things were coming to light, and they snapshot those things in the film, but they didn't invent the wheel. You understand what I'm saying? They saw that there were things that were happening and said, okay, let's combine together with some other people that are doing the same things that we're doing, and let's do it on a larger scale. You see what I'm saying? So this was their rallying cry. This was their unifying cry around how we're supposed to organize around realistic day-to-day needs. So in the midst of it, you see this bastard give out a mandate, because this mandate was saying, okay, we need to stop the rise of a black messiah. The black messiahs are people, not a person. They looked at a singular force, and when they said, okay, if we assassinate, Medgar Evers or Malcolm X or, Dr. Martin Luther King, they realized that they didn't stop anything. All they did was fuel more people for them to have to contend with. You understand what I'm saying? So when they're looking at this, they say, okay, we know that the Judas are a people as well. You see what I'm saying? So whether we look at it from the biblical perspective or historical perspective, and then we look at organizational structure perspectives, we have Judas amongst us. You see what I'm saying? And in the rarity of the case, the Messiah isn't assassinated, killed, or crucified. In the other case, with the Judas, they're loved, they're celebrated. I see you taking pictures with these cats. You understand what I'm saying? Heralded them as somebody great. We love a Judas. So this is why I think this was more attractive than Fred Hampton Sr.'s story by itself, that they added an element in there of betrayal. Because we love a Judas. We love a rat. We make American gangster movies about rats. You understand what I'm saying? We make American Gangster Chronicles about fucking rats. We love a rat. We love a betrayer. We love somebody that will inform on us. We love someone that will destroy our homes, that will destroy our movements, that will destroy our moves, that will report on our moves and our movements to our enemies. We love them. You understand? So this becomes very, very electrifying. So this becomes a pull and a draw in for us to look at our enemies face to face and say, like the Bible say, give us Barabbas, because we'll take Barabbas. And the ones who come amongst us, with the Black Messiah revolutionary spirit, we say crucify them. You understand? Fred Hampton Sr. was crucified. They didn't even want to contend with that spirit. They knew what that shit was, so they had to drug him. You see what I'm saying? They had to drug him, and they had to send somebody that you went to jail for, that you went to war with the police for, that you had hours of long shootouts for. They had to send somebody in that looked like you to deliver you to you. They had to do that with Malcolm. They had to firebomb his house 56 years ago yesterday. So everybody was celebrating Valentine's Day, and it was Valentine, and you understand, 2:35 in the morning, they sent a Molotov cocktail where his baby slept. 2:35 in the morning to where his baby slept, and left him for dead. They didn't know that warrior that they was dealing with. They didn't know he was going to secure everybody out of his house, articles of clothing, get them to the neighbors, and stand ready to destroy anybody who came that way with that M1 Garand. They didn't know that. They didn't know that this 39-year-old man was built for that already. You see what I'm saying? That he was built for that. They didn't know that Dr. King had figured out at 39 that he was rolling around with a bunch of fucking rats. And they was in every picture that was with him. One of them or both of them was in every damn image that we seen, down to his assassination attempt that failed at the Lorraine Motel. And it was pointing up while looking at the damn shooter. They didn't know that. They didn't know that. You understand? We love a rat. We running around with the rat saying, keep hope alive. Oh, he about to be the president. We love a goddamn rat, a snake bastard, and we uplift the snake bastards, and then we teach more about the rat than the revolutionary.
Because to do so is dangerous. To do so is dangerous, brother.
Right.
That's why. And it's used as a tactic to put fear in those who would dare try again.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a military tactic. You're a military man.
Right.
You understand how this goes. It is a tactic to put fear in the hearts of those who would try again. And why? Even after the film, brother, we sitting there and it's over now. Mm-hmm. And you got people in the audience clapping. I'm like, what the hell are you clapping about? What is there to clap about? Because as you said, they put it in the mind, oh, it's just a movie. It's just a movie. But this is real life. And it's still happening today. Is that not what happened to King D. Seals? To them brothers in Ferguson who was shot, each of them behind the ear, point blank, and then their car set on fire? It's still happening today. You still got people who are locked up in the mountains behind the wall right now because they had a Judas with them right at their side. And they know how to come with it because they themselves can't come in and do it. So they recruit somebody who has unclean hands, right? William O'Neill had unclean hands. He was a car thief. You understand? A young boy at that, a 17-year-old car thief. So they came in and they compromised him. Used his fear of them and his fear of the street. Because people was looking for him in the street because of what he was doing. He rolled up in the territory, robbed one of them. You understand what I'm saying? And when he was recognized, he tried to, come on now. They always use this tactic. Always. And that's why, we're going to have to switch it up a little bit. You're going to have to switch it up a little bit. Because if anything, this movie and the death, of others should teach you is that you got to be mindful of those around you.
Definitely. And even sliding in some of this Hollywood stuff about events that supposed to took place that didn't happen. It was still good enough to see, what it was. You see what I'm saying? So when you got to see through stuff like this, like, with that X movie, you got to see through the X movie now and argue with people about the X movie or the autobiography of Malcolm X. You see what I'm saying? Like, so the the tale that is told in regards to these events, they're gonna be etched in iron in the psychology of our people who are uninformed about what took place. They're gonna deal with the fantasy island of the movie and not the reality of what a rat means in your organization. You see what I'm saying? Like, your organization is compromised if this rat is allowed to topple over an organization. Now, there are plenty of rats that are running around in organization. Plenty of them. You see what I'm saying? There's a laundry list full of them. This dynamic of the opportunist took place and was responsible for the death of Patrice Lumumba. Do we gotta forget that? You see what I'm saying? Like, with the defection of Kwame Nkrumah, where he had to be in Congaree at this particular time. So there are plenty of people that have created and acts of treason that exist amongst us, and more attention is given to those that are treasonous, not in the regard that it should be about adjudication or eradication, but in celebration. In celebration, you see what I'm saying? That there are people that I seen y'all change y'all profile pictures on Facebook to celebrate, and they was fucking rats. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that, there's parts of it because everything is not supposed to be told publicly. Everything is not supposed to be told publicly, especially how, things are dealt with. These were revolutionary secrets that wasn't supposed to make it to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Because more attention would be placed on the transgressor than those who were there for our liberation. You see what I'm saying? So, Dr. Khaled won't ever get the attention that he's due. Thanks to some artful and strategic planning by those handlers that was around Dr. Khaled, and some of them are still fucking walking around to this day. Mm-hmm. So, Sister Keisha, they be like, well, George Zimmerman's still walking around to this day. This is what they talking about. That's the topic of conversation. But you was in the picture with a real rat. You was in the picture with a real rat that was responsible and complicit in the death of Black Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Judas.
Mm-hmm.
Judas.
Mm-hmm.
Judas couldn't live with them 30 pieces of silver. It wasn't worth it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't worth it.
Right.
He took his life. He couldn't deal with it. The price was too heavy. These cats, they selling you barbecue sauce and writing books. They don't give a damn about what they had to do, and they'll tell anybody they didn't have a problem with it. Just like William O'Neill when they showed that clip, the only interview where you saw his damn face. He said, I did something that nobody else would do, and everybody else was sitting on the sidelines. He took that shit to his grave. He took his duty and responsibility against his people. That started off as I'm getting myself out of trouble. He created a life for himself and family off the devastation and destruction of black people.
And still and was allowed to continue to move amongst the people. That's enough. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. How is
Right.
it that you allow these people to walk around amongst you?
Right.
We got a lot of traitors and Judases out here still to this day.
Right.
And see, the United States government, they understand clearly on how to use this tactic.
Right.
Why? Because it's easier. It's easier to be the Judas. It's more difficult to be a freedom fighter. As Fred Hampton said, I'm not going to die slipping on no ice. I'm not going to die this way and that way. I'm going to die for the people because I love the people. Malcolm, the same thing. Martin, the same thing. Collett, the same thing. The script never changes because we refuse to change. When we deal with the Judases, then the government will look back and say, wait a minute, can't use this tactic no more. They can't, that don't fly no more. Because, they know how to use entertainment. Unfortunately, brother, our people love to be entertained. Nobody likes to do the real groundwork, especially when it comes to serving the people. That's how Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, and others were able to get such a big following. I remember Elaine Brown saying that it was like something below zero, and hundreds of people were waiting for Fred to show up outside because he served the people. Now you got all of these charlatans who come out and say, well, come and hear me lecture here, and come and buy my book here, or come and get this DVD here, or come and see me here. But you ain't doing a damn thing for the people. Nothing. Nothing. Organization is not from the top down, but from the bottom up. And if it's not from the bottom up, stay away from it. Top down don't work. Even the government operates that way. It's a bottom up. The military is at the bottom. They recruit everyday folks. The poorest of the poor. That's who the military is. The poorest of the poor.
100%.
Everybody understands that tactic. But we've been entertained for too long. We've been taught to fight revolution from the sidelines and expect results. That doesn't work. It didn't work with the establishment of this country. That don't work. And you got all these armchair revolutionaries now. Got so much to say on social media. But I'll never see you out in the street. I'll never see you serving nobody. Who you serve? Who you serve? Name the children that you've helped out here. Name any battered wives that you helped out here. How many how many coats you put on people in the winter? How many people have you fed? So if you haven't done any of that, you're a top-down operation and you suspect to me. Because then you're looking for somebody, you're looking for followers so you could be a dictator. Just like the slave master, you want to replace him. That don't work. At least not today, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work with me. It ain't going to work with nobody around me. We don't move like that. You understand? And sometimes, brother Knowledge, being who I am and speaking the way that I speak, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. a lot of people the wrong way. They ain't really ready for this fight. You ain't really ready to do what must be done. But you'll go at your dude on the street, recruit him in, then watch him. You know, even in the film, the sister, she knew something wasn't right with him. She knew off the gate something wasn't right. But they just let that slide. No, there was conflict there for a while. That wasn't brought out in the film. Of course, you know, you only got a limited amount of time, but that wasn't explained in the film. There was a lot of conflict there. It was a why they didn't trust William O'Neal for some shady stuff he was doing. You understand? Even some members of the Stones question, you know, why is this cat around? You understand what I'm saying? So we're going to have to move differently, a whole lot differently. And if you're really ready for freedom, you got to do some unsavory things. You got to do unsavory work. You understand? You can't sit behind your computer screen and talk about what this person needs to do. You need to have a business head. You need to be doing all this and that and the third. If you don't have the people behind you, ain't going nowhere. 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 And even then, you have to be suspect of some things. You have to keep your circle small. People who know you inside and out. Know about their hands. What they got that's dirty, that could be compromised. If somebody is dirty, they shouldn't be around your inner circle. I'm sorry. Because they're the first ones to be compromised. Because if you throw football numbers at somebody behind the wall, they ain't going to compromise. Who the hell want to do 30 years in prison? Who the hell want to do that? So the people around you, they better have clean hands. Like Malcolm, that's why Malcolm used to talk about his past so much. So he said, you can't beat me with that stick. The people are already aware. Now, what else is going on? But when you're doing stuff behind the scenes, come on now, they could be easily compromised. And they have been for quite a long time. So don't tell me we at war with nobody. Because I ain't seeing no bloodshed on the other end. Not the way it should be. It's been minimal, but it's not the way it should be. Till this day, police department employees, commissioners, attorney generals of every state, what do you call it? The secretary of every state, because every state has a secretary of state. They all should be in fear of black people. If I don't move right, these people gonna do me in. They gonna do me in. You can't get in office. See, even Richard Nixon understood that. He understood that. That's why, even though he was as dirty as he wanted to be, as grimy as he wanted to be, the circle around him protected him at all costs until the very end. Until the very end. You understand? That even in this past administration with Trump, you had this political theater, if you will, where they talking about some sort of impeachment. There was no damn impeachment. This is political theater. Donald Trump told you during his primary run, he said, these people ain't going to go against me. He said, I bought and paid for all of them already. He put that already out there. Already out there. And so for the people to expect something different, you have to be crazy or you're not listening and paying attention. You got to listen. You got to pay attention and you got to do the work of people. Don't tell me about no lecture. Don't tell me about no GoFundMe so you could go overseas to do something. Don't tell me about none of that BS. What are you doing for people on the ground? What are you doing? You got teachers in public schools putting black children in cages, having black children reenact a slave auction. Why are these schools still open and operating? Where are all the parents of all those students, all those black parents? You should have been up at that school every day. And we're going to change the status quo as it is. Every day we're going to be up here. People don't want to do that work, brother. They don't want to do that work. And so, yeah, they like to see the Judas. They like to see the Judas. It's easier to be that.
That's the game. The game is rigged in that fashion. You know, that's a long-standing history. That's a lineage. That's a damn ancestral lineage of rats and informants. They doing what they foreparents and foremothers and fathers before them was doing. You see what I'm
Like,
saying?
how the hell is people still around Al Sharpton to this day is beyond me. You know,
You
the
know,
FBI
right,
told you he's their informant. You know,
right.
what's his name? Michael Francese told you how dirty Sharpton was. As a matter of fact, I remember hearing people saying here in New York that Sonny Carson warned people to stay the hell away from him. And you take direction from him? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? And I see all of these. That's not what I'm saying. He already got a number. What is it? C-185 or one? I think that's a number. He already got a number. And again, he gonna lie and say, well, he don't do that no more. Even in the film, what's his name?
He retired.
They stop using you when they feel like stop using you. That's how it works. When he tried to get the brother Kwame to give information about the whereabouts of Assata Shakur.
Right.
And you still got this cat moving around you? You let him come up in your churches, eulogize your family?
Right.
That the police murdered? Are you crazy? Yo, I guess mental illness is a real thing.
Definitely a real thing. So there was some other aspects in the film in regards to what groundwork looks like in organization. You know, the position and advantage point that they showed Chairman Fred, he was the highest ranking official in the spot, but that didn't stop him from putting in work on the ground. They showed a snapshot of what it takes. You know, Dr. Khaled got this video called Revolutionary Tricks of the Trade, where he shared all of his expertise in regards to recruiting. Recruiting is the lifeblood of the organization. He was still pounding the pavement. He was still out there passing out pamphlets. They were still out there pushing the paper. You see what I'm saying? So if you're in one of these political organizations, a revolutionary organization, this is what groundwork look like. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
This and the need for political education classes. You see, he was teaching political education classes. You see what I'm saying? Like still hands on. Like they didn't show him, you know, from the distance to where he had took a step back. He was removed from the situation. Like no, he was there. He was right there, you know, directly with the people. You know, in real life, we saw him in schools. He was in schools talking to the young children in schools. You see what I'm saying? Like, where's that presence of these organizations of people that have organized around the people, making direct contact with them, making direct contact with the youth? If revolution is supposed to be in the hands of the youth, and they're espousing all of these people, the next year, 1970, August 7th, 1970, a young brother by the name of Jonathan Jackson showed what it was to put it on the line with his brother. You understand what I'm saying? With the links that was necessary. So even with the transition of Fred Hampton Sr., peace and blessings be upon him, it didn't stop. 1970, 1971. You see what I'm saying? How long we gonna go through the timeline? You see what I'm saying? Are we gonna continue to do this? Something happens to our people, you know, one of our brothers or one of our sisters, and then we say some punk ass shit like say her name or say his name. We're not gonna. There's no honor in cowardness. There's no honor in cowardness. You understand what I'm saying? You got people, they say, oh, they want to, they want. Dr. King said, like anybody, I would like to live a long life.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? April 3rd, 1968, he had came to grips and he was okay with what happened.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking at the Judas. He put him in his damn speech. He called him dear friend. You understand what I'm saying? And when they called him to the steps of the Lorraine Motel, he was no longer with us. Ain't no death for no martyr. You see what I'm saying? He got it right. He was raised away for him to be on the opposite side of us until he got near us. He was raised up a certain kind of way. They trained him up a certain kind of way. He was done with high school at the age of 16 years old. They taught and trained him, and then they brought him in. Mark Clark and Fred Hampton Sr. came from the NAACP. They didn't come out of nowhere. You understand what I'm saying? Like we got to know how these organizational structures work and where people come from. Who in your organization? Where they come from? What organizations they've been in prior to that? Where's the vetting system? Where's the physical and the spiritual vetting system for people coming into your organization? How can they make it? How they make it in? What does it take? What you put them do? You can't tell me you got a revolutionary organization and the only requirement is for you to wait 90 fucking days. That's a job, nigga, with no pay. They got you on probation at your damn job for 90 days. Some places 90 days, 180 days, a year. Where's your probationary period of suffrage? You're supposed to be able to know when somebody gets snatched up off the street, what they're going to go through. You ain't prepared them. You just got them in a uniform. You just got a beret on their fucking head. They got a patch. They get snatched up off the street. The police beat their ass. They tell every fucking thing in the goddamn world. You ain't put them through nothing. And they say they ain't a revolutionary organization.
That's something, shout out to my brother Tad. That's something, and Ashe, that's what we always say, who knows you? Who's validated you?
Right.
Or all of a sudden you a general, or you such and such. Who validated you? Who knows you? I bet you. Go back to their neighborhoods, ask on the street who the hell they are. What work have they put in?
Right.
Come on now. Come on now. We got to do better. We have to do better. Because let me tell you something. I wrote Dolo for a reason. I don't trust no damn body.
Right.
If you ain't been vetted, I don't trust you. I don't at all. You can't even talk to me. I'm like a snake. Can I talk to you for a minute? Nope. I'm out. That's how I move. I don't trust people. And then, we sitting there, brother, at the premiere of the film, and you have all of these different organizations who are about, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You had different groups who themselves, the whole entire organization is compromised. You can't speak on Fred Hampton. Your whole organization from bottom up and top down is compromised. You got swirlers in there. You've got your leadership who compromise other folks. You got your leadership who is a swirler. You got leadership in this group who claim to be speaking for the entirety of all Black people with some BS talking about, well, we don't need reparations and all this. So is you out your mind? Or wait, he said, we don't need cash payments. How dare you say that to the family of Fred Hampton? How dare you? You just got finished watching the film and you're going to say that we don't need cash payments. That your group is fighting for reparations but not for cash payments. Well, what the hell are you fighting for? So y'all can be put on? Because you've been bleeding the community for quite some time. But we let these people come amongst us. And I had to say what I had to say after that premiere, you know, war is unsavory. And a lot of people were suspect. A lot of people were suspect. You know, say what you want about Sonny Carson, but he told the truth on a lot of folks. Why? Because he was up the street. He already knew who was compromised and who wasn't. But nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to listen. King D. Seals warned us to stay the hell away from Black Lives Matter. Warned us. They are operatives. They in here to compromise everything that we doing. And now look at it. Now you got Black Lives Matter and Antifa running around together. I mean, this is sick. And everybody getting fired except black people. Everybody. You just had your new president, what's his name? Joe Biden sign legislation talking about hate crimes against Asians. Hate crimes against Asians. He didn't say that when them Asians was beating the hell out of them black women in their stores or in their nail salons. I didn't hear nothing from him or Kamala Harris. Nothing. When we went out there to Flatbush, Brooklyn at the Red Apple Nail Salon, I didn't see none of these politicians come out there on her behalf. None of them were out there. But now you have an elective season, and now you're going to have all of these politicians come out and say, well, vote for this one and vote for that one. For what? For what? Fred said politics without war is bloodshed. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? What are you voting for? For whom? What are you getting out of it? Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was a political group. Some people question, you know, well, why did he go over to the whites? He told you it's a political organization. He said, we're going to have a separate group from you, the Rainbow Coalition. But after his murder, who steps in? Jesse Jackson to take over the Rainbow Coalition. The same Jesse Jackson when it came to the murder of Dr. King. The Judas seem to always be rewarded. It's easier to do that. It's easier to do that. But I'm glad, you know, say what you want about them brothers in Ferguson, because when Jesse pulled up, they made sure he exit right on out. You can't set up shop here. You can't set up shop here. Put him in Sharpton. And that's why they sent in other folks. Because Sharpton and Jesse couldn't break the barrier. Everybody know they suspect. And when I see these people today coming out of National Action Network, are you crazy? I don't trust none of y'all. None of y'all. One, I don't trust a slut-like mentality. A slut would do anything to get what he or she wants. It's a lot of sluts moving around in that organization. I don't want to put people's business on Front Street, but if you come before me, I'm going to embarrass you. I will embarrass you. And, you know, just keep that mess away from me. That's all I can say. Keep that mess away from me. And for those organizations who claim they political, they claim they for people, where your works at? Where your works at? Why are you trying to wed them to a Democrat or Republican Party? Why are you trying to wed them to that? What they gonna get out of it? Don't claim you standing on the shoulders of greats, because no, you not. I don't know whose shoulders you standing on. You not standing on Fred Hampton's shoulders. You damn sure ain't standing on Malcolm and Collins' shoulders. When you political, you got to move differently. That was smart. That was strategic. You understand? So I'm going to get all these poor white folks on board. I'm going to get all of them on board. But keep them separate. But then you have folks who came and said, you know, we got to be inclusive. We got to let some of them in here. You know, they funding. We got to let some of them around us. Come on, stop playing. Stop playing. Stop playing. So we're going to have to do some real house cleaning, brother. Some real house cleaning. Some people gonna have to be made uncomfortable. And I'm telling all of you right now, when they come to your city, when they come to your town, and they peddling some lecture, yeah, show up and let them know they ain't want it no more. And if you try it again, they gonna see some brakes put on them. If you're not willing to do that, we're gonna keep losing. We're gonna keep losing. And I refuse. That's why I am the way that I am. I refuse to leave another generation in this hellhole and ain't nobody picking up the gauntlet to do nothing. Nothing. You in media, this is rough work. This ain't easy. This is rough work.
Right.
Brother Fred Hampton said we needed our own media. So we are giving it to the people, but it's rough work because our folks are so brainwashed. Like you said, they love that Judas. They love that.
They'll forget this shit by tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? They've been forgot this by later on. It hit 12 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You gotta re-educate all over again. And for this to be a historical event to take place and they put in a movie, it's more of a movie. They didn't show like the 30 seconds that they show armed resistance in the film. The 30 seconds, it was 10 seconds in the store. It was 10 more seconds at the headquarters. You see what I'm saying? And then they showed the one brother moving like a panther. You understand what I'm saying? The one brother moving like a panther, moving like a retributionary. You see what I'm saying? Like he was stalking that damn pig and shot his ass all up. You understand what I'm saying? Like that, the little glimpse that were in there. That close quarter engagement. You see what I'm saying? Like that kind of precision that was there.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like that was, there were whispers in the night about an army that was running up on pigs in the nighttime. There was blood brothers that was running around New York. You see what I'm saying? Like that, all of these things was in there in that vein in regards to what that was in actuality. You see what I'm saying? What it was in actuality. There was a reason why they came, to Fred Hampton's apartment in the way that they did. You see what I'm saying? It's a reason for that. Things were happening. You see what I'm saying? Things were happening. Like these things aren't happening right now. These things are talked about. These things are not happening. You see what I'm saying? So, they knew in our ancestors' time that there was a price for everything that you did. If you did something in the daytime, you paid for it in the nighttime. We talking about, Robert F. Williams. You see what I'm saying? We talking about Robert F. Williams. They had to go on record and publicly denounce affiliation to Robert F. Williams because of the nighttime. So them sit-ins that our ancestors was doing in the daytime, if anything happened to any of them, it didn't happen everywhere. It didn't happen like it did in North Carolina, like it did in Louisiana and Mississippi. Because nightfall was adjudication time. It didn't happen equally all of these places. You wasn't getting spat on and just drug out of places because it was hell to pay come nightfall. So the affiliations, they had to publicly denounce certain connections. And the Klan had to put the word out that, the NAACP don't got nothing to do with Robert F. Williams. You see what I'm saying? That's what real pressure look like. They ain't gonna see him. They ain't gonna see him. He made it to Cuba. He made it to Vietnam. He made it to Africa. You see what I'm saying? Like, so there were certain things that were there in the story and cultural safeguards that were not spoken about. They were not spoken about. They ain't speak about the young brother, Jacob Winters, in the light that he needed. At least they showed him got down, even if it was only for 10 seconds. You understand what I'm saying? Like to know that's the element right there. You know, they ain't know about Lil Bobby Hutton. You understand what I'm saying? Like so, you know, so for Jonathan Jackson or for George Lester Jackson in that spirit, in that vein, in that lane, when it came time to execute, they did it with the best of them. So a lot of organizations are running around off of the legacy of what their ancestors did before them, and they ain't doing a motherfucking thing. They riding the wave. You see what I'm saying? They riding the wave. It used to be a reason why they ain't mess with the Muslims like they did. It used to be a reason why. You understand what I'm saying? It used to be a reason. So, you know, you might see somebody look like something, but just because they was dressed a certain kind of way, they didn't think that they was gonna come for your ass. That was another part. You see what I'm saying? There was another part right there. So there was plenty. There was a recompense for what you did. You didn't just do it. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't just do it. You know, with the death of Dr. King and with the death of Malcolm X, the streets answered the cry. They answered the rallying call. You see what I'm saying? And they took to the streets. And we still see it, that still exists in the hearts and the minds of our people. And we still see the bourgeoisie handkerchief head Judas that's running around trying to put out the fires. This ain't the way, that ain't the way, this ain't the way, that ain't the way. You understand what I'm saying? I lived through the betrayal to where you in a military organization and the founder of the organization that you akin yourself to come and say, ain't no new Black Panthers. That you went to court for. That you had lawsuits against. We lived through that. We lived through that kind of betrayal where young people didn't mind giving their life being killed, going into exile or going to prison with the mind frame that you can jail a revolutionary, but you can't jail revolution. So for those to be attracted to that kind of lifestyle that would keep this going, because it was going on everywhere. Because it was going on here, it was going on everywhere. So when this stopped, just like you seen recently with the whole George Floyd situation, the world remembered what the heartbeat of revolution looked like. But it looked like something here, but outside of the continent of the United States, it's called, oh, no more rice. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, no more bread, no more soup. It's regular. You know, over here it means something. It's magnified. Over there is how shit get done. You know, with young, what they call them, children, soldiers or something like that. That's a way of life. That's a way of life outside of this country. You understand? How do you think the U.S. troops navigated through Vietnam? The young children told them where the bombs were, where the landmines were. How do you think you navigate through the streets of Iraq and Afghanistan or through Somalia? Somebody there on the ground giving you intel. Otherwise, you done for. So when they talk about child soldiers, that's the word, you know, child soldiers and stuff like that, you got to divorce yourself from the concept. We got child soldiers running around out here and don't know that they're in battle. They playing with toy guns in front of a community center and they dead from police gunfire before the vehicle come to a complete halt. A sister has to live with the trauma and stress that she let her little brother Tamir play in front of the community center for the rest of her life. She has a son now. She got to worry every time her son go outside to play if he gonna come home. You got a mother that had to mother these children after the death of her son for playing with a toy gun in front of a community center where he was supposed to be safe. A sister who ran outside and she was prevented, handcuffed, and thrown in the police car watching her brother die in front of her eyes. She had to go home and tell her mother, Samir is dead. There's no response. There's only reaction. Kareem Gang's son got to remember about
That's right.
his mother.
That's right.
You got to remember about his mother, right in front of him. You see what I'm saying? So the mind frame, where it goes, and the embossing and imprinting on the psychology. The movie did it in one way, and reality does it in another way. That same factor. The same factor, that Judas factor, that operation of distrust and mistrust that exists amongst us, that continues to go. The only rallying cry is a retributionary cry. That's the only way that we ever unified in this place. We operated in tribes and in factions on the mother continent. We came here and realized that our beefs were small. They were insignificant. Our enemy was a far greater threat to our existence than anything that we had with one another. We fought with our brothers and sisters, but let somebody else come around. We tore their ass up and then we got back to fight. You see what I'm saying? That kind of situation, that's us. You know, so that's what unity looks like.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So this kind of mentality is the only way you don't respond appropriately. Is for you operating out of fear. Whatever it was, the fear or the reward was greater for your inaction. So in this case, it was $300 and keys to a damn gas station in the film that they showed you at the end. Then they showed you close to $250,000, how he was able to operate for the rest of his time, his tenure. That shit went from a scare tactic to a job, to a career informant, a career rat, career infiltrator. So you would have a cat in the community that would sell your community drugs and then rat on everybody. And that's what you want to be like. Made millions off the death and devastation of our people and then ratted on everybody. When he got caught, when they came and they punched his ticket.
You know,
that's the Judas factor we glorified.
You know, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But I don't care. But you know, I say this all the time, you know, coming up in the streets in Brooklyn, you know, I know a lot of cats who did a lot of damage to a lot of folks, you know, and now, you know, they repented, if you will, turn over a new leaf. Well, you owe the community for all the damage that you've done. You owe the community. You should be out here teaching these young brothers and sisters right now the tricks of the trades of the system, because you already been through it. You owe that to the community. In fact, the crack era was the gateway to gentrification. You understand? I don't care if you now giving your life to the Lord. A lot of them do that today. You know, I turned over a new leaf. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Allah and all this other kind of stuff. Great. Now, what you going to do to repent for all the stuff that you've done? People right now can't afford a place to live in the communities you helped destroy. You got to repent for that. I don't give a damn who you gave your life to. If you rob me of $300, I want my $300 back. I don't care what you telling Jesus. I want my damn money back. Then you could go back over there and tell Jesus some other stuff. That's fine. And we tend to let that stuff slide. I don't. If you rob me, I want what you took from me ASAP. Apology is no longer acceptable. Right? And if you can't do that, like I said, you gotta give up some intel. And you gotta make that a consistent thing until you have weighed the scales evenly and say, yeah, I paid my debt. You gotta give some intel. You understand? You can't just come out here and say, well, I'm gonna live my life now. Nah, that don't fly with me. That don't fly with me at all. Because we gotta know how to get at this system. We gotta know what we're dealing with this system. Because that's the end goal. Right? I want every police department in the United States of America to pay for every murder that they've committed. Apology is not accepted. So if you're a black man or woman and you in the police department, it's fine. We need you there. But come out with that intel. Come out with some training. You understand? Don't come to me with a gun buyback program when everybody and their mother is armed to the teeth. You just had what they call it, an insurrection attempt, if you will, on January 6th. I ain't see a gun buyback program in their hoods yet. I haven't seen let's get the guns off the street in their neighborhoods yet. But they come and feed that garbage to us. Where is the training? If you was in the military, you gave your life to the military for how many years? When it's time to do some training, you should be on the front line. You should be on the front line for that. Because you help this United States government to maintain power. The same power that's killing and murdering us. The same power that got us in an oppressive state today. You got to pay for that. Give me that intel. Give me that intel. So that the next go round, we don't suffer the same fate as those of our ancestors did in the past. Let their slayings be a lesson to all of us how to move out here. People, I seen the Black Congressional Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus, if you will. And they were talking about during this past presidential stint with former President Donald Trump, they were talking so much about curbing his speech. Curbing his speech. Okay, fine. If you curb his speech, that means you curb my speech. So now I can't fight. Because you took that away from me. Because you didn't like the words he was using. Or people who liked him, you didn't like them. I like all of my races up front and out in the open. Just like I like my traitors. I like them up front, out in the open. When you curb somebody's free speech, you take away their ability to fight politically. And if you take away their right to fight politically, that's where the arms come in. And that's why you saw what happened on January 6th. You may not like it, but you will respect it. And now, there is no murder hearings going on right now. People died January 6th, but they on one accord. If it was us, you'll have the Congressional Black Caucus. Yeah, lock them all up. Put them all behind bars. Look at the legislation that they signed on to. You talk about Joe Biden and his crime bill. He didn't do it by himself. Who was on those committees? Who signed on with it? These are traitors. Because while Rick Ross did a football numbers in prison, Oliver North went on to live a great life and still having a great life. Ronald Reagan went on to have a great life until he died. The only one paid was him and our brothers and sisters who were caught up in that. They were the only one. Now you have a drug epidemic again in the United States. But this time, it's on them. And what's the rhetoric we hear from the Congressional Black Caucus? They're not talking about mass incarceration. They're not talking about locking down communities or neighborhoods. They talking about drug treatment programs. They talking about legalizing drugs. You understand what I'm saying? The rhetoric has changed.
Right.
And these people are traitors, but we keep voting for them. So don't tell me you stand on the shoulders of great and you still with the same status. You crazy. You crazy. You outside of your mind. I'm not with that. I'm not with that. The commentary is not palatable to me. It's not. It's rhetoric, and it's dangerous rhetoric. Because right now, in the first 100, well, he ain't reached 100 days yet, but the first few days, the first few weeks of being in office, you know, all of this legislation has been signed, nothing specifically for us, and we're the ones catching all the hell out here. Even when you had these summer, I don't know, mobsters, if you will, that happened during the summer with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Came through every major city, destroyed property, burned buildings down, seized police departments, all in the name of Black suffering. And Black people ain't get a goddamn thing but the blame. And you voting, you happy to see Kamala Harris in office? Really? I don't trust sluts. I don't trust sluts. A slut would do anything to get what they want. And that's what she's done. Slept around and slutted her way through the Black community, locking up everything in sight. Became the top cop, and now she's second in charge. And that's no menial thing. The vice president is the chairman of the Senate. So any votes that come up and it's divided in the Senate, she makes the final call. So, as I said before, if there is to be an inquisition for the murders of our people unjustly, and the Senate is tied, she gonna veto it down. But you voted for her. So to me, that's traitorous, brother. To me, that's traitorous.
That's right.
To keep voting for this political apparatus, because you're so afraid of rhetoric, because you're so afraid of what's being put before your eyes. You vote the same status quo, and we don't get justice. We don't get what we deserve. We don't get what we are rightfully owed. You played a part in that. That too is Judas. You were Judas. The same party that enslaved you, you still voting for it today. You're a Judas. That's why we suffering, brother. Our ancestors see very clearly. And they giving us all the signs. Trump was the greatest sign since Ronald Reagan of what this country was. And people didn't like the truth put bold in their face. Like I said, the Republican Party is going to rape you straight up and down. The Democratic Party going to rape you, but they're going to use some Vaseline. You like to get the Vaseline. You a goddamn traitor to me. I don't listen to the rhetoric. I pay attention to legislation. I pay attention to who's on these committees. I pay attention to their committee votes, their House votes, and their Senate votes. Now, the Dems got control of the House and the Senate. So, I ask you, all you voters out there, what have we gotten for us specifically? What have we demanded? One, we demanded reparations. But that's put to the back burner. And you allow that to happen because you refuse to let the system fall. The same system that oppresses us to this day. Black people hold the balance of that political vote. They know that. Biden said it, and so did Kamala Harris during their acceptance speeches, that they wouldn't have made it without the black vote. Not the Latino vote, not the white woman vote, not the Asian vote, not the Jewish vote, not the handicapped vote, but the black vote. You went into the office and you came to the table and you left with nothing. All of them are Judas to me. Every last one of them. And they don't like it when I say it, but it's the goddamn truth. We suffering because you keep voting for it. Don't tell me you understand the power of Fred Hampton. Really? That's not how he was moving. How can you say you respect and honor what Dr. King did, what Malcolm did, what Mega did, and any other before us? Dr. Collins show improved. Take this beast to task. When everybody else was scared to go to Jasper, Texas, he went to Jasper, Texas. Now be right out and open and up front. I'm not playing with you, cracker. I'm not playing with you. That's what he said. But you now join forces with members of clergy who disgust me. You got and political pundits come before you and say, we're going to have a gift card for guns program. Are you crazy? The FBI itself said that the police are infested with racism. We have to be able to protect ourselves. The brothers and the sisters on the street are the front line. As Fred Hampton said, excuse me, to the Stones, do what you do. But together, we can control this city. Do what you do. And they made sure that he had what he needed. It's the same with Madam Stephanie Sinclair and Marcus Messiah Garvey. I'm going to make sure you get that bread. We got to work together. And the man in the UNIA amassed millions. Amass millions. We have to do things hand in hand. Those brothers and the sisters in the street, yeah, you owe. You can't be out here reckless. Because if you operating your thing as a business, then you got to make sure your customers or your consumers are protected. You can't have the police coming here reckless. Black women should be able to come to and fro the bus stops and don't have to worry about being busted in their head. Or go into a store to buy a bottle of wine and don't have to worry about coming out and being bitten in their face. That's a sucker move to me. And we out here moving like suckers. I have never been such. That's why I roll dolo, brother. I can't rock with a lot of people. I can't. That sucker stuff don't fly with me. And when you had someone like a Fred Hampton who came in and was able to talk to the young lords and the Stones and poor whites, he was able to come in and get them all to the understanding that, hey, either we rock this together or we gonna lose. So they had to have a Judas. And black people voted for it, brother. Black people voted for it. You, listen, Nixon did not get in by the white vote alone. Some of our folks voted for him because you wasn't voting for Charlene Mitchell. You wasn't voting for her. They don't even speak her name. You understand? They talk about Shirley Chisholm. And I said before on our program, the reason why Shirley Chisholm got the nod is because she was a ghostwriter for past presidents. That's why she got the nod. They knew she was going to lose, but they had to give a face to it. And black people fell right in line. We like to see an image of ourselves without doing the back work and the investigation of why this image was put before you. Where these people come from. Who are these damn people? Who the hell was Barack Obama? How long was his stint in the Senate? It was a blip. Then all of a sudden, he's on a presidential ticket. That image. He knew how to talk to people when they didn't vote for him. You're traitors. You're Judases. Because the LGBTQ, whatever their name numbers is, I don't know. But they moved to the forefront. Off your vote. You're a Judas. We got to check ourselves. Listen, I was in an organization, brother. And I did something that I was told not to do as it relates to the press. After it was over, I got called to the back room. This is a true story. And he said, who the hell told you to make that comment? Though the news media apparatus twisted what I said, they put in some other shit that I didn't say, but they brought me to the floor and said, hold on, we told you not to do that. I had to take that bullet and eat it. I had to apologize for what I did and make right what I did. Nobody bringing nobody to the floor around here. Everybody out here running reckless. You got to make right what you did wrong. And to the black voters out here in America, yeah, you have to make right what you done wrong. You voted for these police commissioners. Though that office is not voted upon, it's appointed. But when you vote for these mayors, you don't find out who they're going to appoint. You don't demand your own appointee. Every other group doesn't. I just had a conversation a month ago, brother, with a sister who was peddling the vote for someone else who's running here in the city. And then I brought up the record of the Secretary of State of New York. She said, Secretary of State? She said, you mean under the White House? I said, of the state. We got a Secretary of State? I said, yeah, every state does. But you out here peddling the vote. You don't even know how it operates. Get the hell out of here. You can't tell me nothing. Move on with your foolishness. So we're going to have to call some things to the floor. Some people going to have to be made uncomfortable. You voted for this. Tamir Rice, as you said, was murdered. Trayvon was murdered. Sandra Bland murdered. Corinne Grains murdered. Ayanna Jones murdered. Breonna Taylor murdered. Freddie Gray murdered. I could go on and on and on. You voted for the apparatus that refuses to give us justice. You're a Judas. You're a Judas. Check yourselves, family. Check yourselves. You've been called to the carpet. Check yourselves. You're doing something out of pocket here. We're not taking that no more. You better fix what you're doing. You better get on the right side, because our ancestors are screaming from the grave. They put everything before you. You're in a modern age of technology. There is no reason for you to be dumb on anything. You can get information on everything. If you can find information on when the latest sale is going to take place, you can find out information about who these people that are put before you, that are selected for you. You don't even select who should take these offices. It's already selected for you. And they lie to you and say, well, you elected them. No, you're not. You ain't elected no damn body. We got a lot of problems out here. And the black community as a whole, you got to be brought to the floor. You got to be brought to the floor. You cannot continue to betray the people and think that everything is going to be all right. Nobody cares until it happens directly to one of them. That's something that the father of Ramali Graham said, and I'll never forget that. He said when he came to this country, he and his family came for a better way of life. He came to do his business, make his money. He didn't get involved in political stuff until it happened to his. Until you all sitting ducks right now. We all sitting ducks because they told you it's too big of a feat to deal with. If they release this information to you, release this information to the president, and we get no results, what are you telling us? You got to stop voting the way that we do. So, everybody's being called to the floor right now. Everybody. I don't trust no damn body, especially when you out here champion for a goddamn Democratic Party. You crazy. I don't deal with the insane. I don't have that expertise to deal with the insane, so I just bob and weave. I got to move away from you because you're talking crazy, and I don't rock like that.
So for any of these people who invest in the political process that's out here that can galvanize. Is there, a person or people that we should pay attention to? There's people that's listening, around the globe. There's people that's listening, you see what I'm saying, in the family and all of that. And they want to know who are there some people that either you working with or you connected to, that we should galvanize our attention. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that if someone stood in that position, that they should get 100% of our vote. You know what I mean? You already know how I feel about the political process. I don't got your lane. This your lane. Clearly, this is your lane. You understand what I'm saying? I got another solution. But for those might be more apt to do, and walk in that lane that you're saying. So, is there somebody or some people that you could direct the listeners to that could move a certain kind of way?
Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. Not in my estimation, because I investigate everybody that's put before us. The first thing I look at is who's funding these people, where you came from, where was your groundwork. Now, I don't know everyone who's running or who wants to run around the country. I don't know. But when it's put before me, I investigate. I reached out to two political pundits here in New York City, both of them running under the Democratic Party right now. I reached out to both campaigns. One got back to me and said they'll think about it. The other one I'm still waiting for. What you waiting for? What you waiting for? See, people don't like to make white folks uncomfortable. Our folks don't like to do that. We do not like to make white folks uncomfortable. We become afraid and we move away from that. And that is, listen, I don't know what individual reasonings for doing so, but I can tell by observation that a lot of our people become afraid. Even in business, you can't show me a black millionaire or billionaire who is an entrepreneur who speaks about the oppressive state of our people, who goes against the system. Even in business, you have to remain silent or compliant. You cannot be visibly out front and confront the system. And so when you see these movies like Judas and the Black Messiah, it puts a fear in a lot of folks, brother. It puts fear in a lot of folks. Oaks Bluff, which is the black part of Martha's Vineyard. I was there once and I had a conversation with a brother and his wife, and they own about, he said, 70 something subway chains throughout the country. And at that time, I was telling him about my campaign and, what my platform was. And they agreed with everything that I said. Everything. But the brother told me, he said, we can't get involved in that. We can't have anything to do with that because we will lose everything. And if we lose everything, then our family lose everything, right? And the employees that we have will lose everything. And I said to the brother, I said, well, if the police department runs into any one of your establishments and shoot and kill your employees, you got to start from scratch. At any moment's time, any police department can surround you and your wife and kill you on the spot. So then your family has to start from scratch. And he said, you know what? I really never thought about it that way, but I still can't get involved in it. It's a fear, brother. It's a fear. And you have to be fearless to deal with this system. I don't care. Listen, I've lived life. I don't care about death. I don't. Everybody I want to rock with is on the other side anyway. You know, I hate to echo the words of Martin, but I want to live a long life just like anybody. But somebody has to go against this system. Somebody has to speak against this political apparatus. And I know the people ain't going to be with me. They ain't with me. I understand that perfectly clear. You know, people will tell you, we rock with you. We rocking with you. Really? If I get into a tough one, where you going to be at? You going to make sure the legal team is surrounding me? You going to make sure that my family is taken care of if I'm taken up out of here? Everyone who's been taken up out of here, all of our great ones, we didn't take care of their family and their loved ones. We did none of that. See, white folks reward their heroes. After the Civil War, those Confederates who left antebellum South, they came to the North. And they formed organizations all throughout this country. They infiltrated government, military, and police departments. And they still operating today. The Klan never died. Right? The Aryan Brotherhood never died. You just got different names, different apparatuses, and different factions. They all on the same code with each other. I'll tell you that much. They may fight behind closed doors. They don't like each other behind closed doors, but when it comes to us, they don't want to accord. We still trying to figure that out. And I get it all the time, Sister Keisha, you need to do this and you need to run for office again. And where was you in that black vehicle who kept sitting out front of my door? You wasn't there. You wasn't there. When I was getting those phone calls, you wasn't there. When people was threatening me, you wasn't there. So don't tell me you'll be there for me. Don't try to put a battery in my back, because I'm not stupid. If you really about it, if you really want us to take power, and I put that to any, you get these white progressives, digress for a minute. You get these white progressives who understand what is happening with us, who speak out against it. Ask any of them if they're willing to relinquish power to make it right. And they're going to tell you no. You know what it takes to get power? Like I said, and brother, I've been kicked out of groups because the way that I speak, I'm not going to tone down a goddamn thing. Nothing. I can't be put in a box. I can't be silenced. I can't be toned down. That's never going to happen. I wasn't born or made for that. I've always been a person to speak my mind and say it how it is. Always been that way. So I don't want to hear, people talk about, we're going to be there for you. Where you at? Where you at? The same people were saying that in 2013. I funded my own campaign out my own pocket. Where you at? You ain't really ready for war. You ain't really ready to take power. We had a chance to do it many times in history, and we fell off. During the Great Depression, the Great Reconstruction, when we were building wealth all over this country, all over this nation, we refused to seize power at that time. And look what happened. Look what happened. Everything going. Everything is going. Now we're just a memory and a blurb during Black History Month. It's crazy and insane. So don't tell me you ready to rock and you ain't ready to rock. You gonna provide 24-hour security for me and my family? You gonna put in that work? I don't think so. And people talk a good game, but listen, you can't talk that nonsense to me. Because let's say if I was on the next presidential ticket, you gonna be out there morning, noon, and night to knock on them doors and campaign for me? Or do I gotta pay you to do that? And if I gotta pay you, where I'm gonna get this bread from? You gonna put it up for me? Got all these Black-owned businesses. Where your bread at? If you got people supporting your business, you have to support the people's politics. And the people say, well, we want Sister Keisha to run for president. You got to pay for that. You got to come up out that pocket. No nominee funds their own campaign. It's business that funds their campaign. Where is Black-owned businesses? If I was to be put on the ballot to run for president of the United States, and my cabinet would be fierce, you will see a change in this country like never before. But you ain't ready for that. You ain't ready for that. You gonna protect my children? You gonna protect my grandchildren? My nieces and nephews? When somebody tried to kidnap one of them off the street, where was you? Where was you? Where are you? So don't tell me that you really ready and you about it. That you ready to give it all and you know what it takes. You gonna keep me out the penitentiary? If they come for me? What you gonna do? Say, yeah, Sister Keisha, she was about it. I don't want no words and no memory blips. They wasn't ready, I'm telling you, brother. And they still ain't ready. Our people still ain't ready to get free. They don't want to get off this Democratic plantation. They love it. They love it because it's easy, it's soothing. This abuse has become soothing to our people. Because you could watch a murder right before your eyes and walk away like nothing. You're that desensitized from murder of a Black man, woman, or child that you could go on, watch a murder this morning and go to a party the same night? You that desensitized? Come on now. If you ain't really ready. You ain't really ready. You ain't ready. So, our people gonna have to do a lot of self-evaluation of why these Judases are allowed to move amongst us and why we can't move the needle any further than what we have. You have to do a lot of self-evaluation. The last time I voted on the Democratic Party, I think it was in the 90s. In the 90s. Last time I voted. And then I began to educate myself more and more and more. It was one time I went to vote, brother. And at that time I was registered as an independent and still am. When you give your card or your address and they check your name in the book and the sister tells me, oh, we got you registered in 3 different parties. How did that happen? How did that happen when I never registered as a Republican in my life? So how did that happen? There's some voter fraud stuff going on here. And she just chuckled. She just chuckled. The Freedom Party established itself as a legitimate party, and it was sabotaged by the governor and the Board of Elections. Nobody paid for that. That took a lot of time, money, and effort to go from one borough to the other, to upstate New York, back downstate New York, to get all those signatures. The people ain't pay for that. We pay for that out of our pockets. To get a treasurer, to get an accountant, we have to pay for that out of our pockets. Don't tell me you ready. Don't tell me you about it. It takes a lot of work, it takes finance, it takes a lot of heart. So if you ain't got it, move away from me with that, brother. I hope people walk away from this movie, if they see it or haven't seen it, and should see it, but walk away with some sort of education, some sort of will and desire to educate yourselves a little bit more about what a Judas is, what a Black Messiah is. As you said, we all Black Messiahs. Every time you elevate your thinking, that's dangerous. That's why you think social media is shutting down people's pages, shutting down people's profiles. You getting a little bit too much. You getting too much information, and you spreading around too quickly. So they ready to shut down your comments, take away your free speech. Well, if your speech is gone, Are you willing to pick up arms and fight for it? That's what them Urugus did January 6th. They was willing to put it all on the line. And we looked at it objectively. We didn't see what was really happening. I take education from every form. I don't turn around education from nothing and nobody. I don't care who teaching it. Maybe some of our military brothers and sisters or law enforcement brothers and sisters should have been looking at the weaknesses in the system. So you could come out and teach our brothers and sisters. Right? Stop pointing fingers and look for education and how you could use it to your betterment. That's all. That's all. And do the necessary work. So that's where I'm at, brother. I'm not rocking with no fake ones. I don't rock with no Judases. Stay the hell away from me with your informant selves. And you can't get me on nothing because these hands is clean. These hands is clean. So you go ahead. Anything I've ever done in my life, I always speak about it. I don't hide nothing. Nothing. So as my brother Malcolm said, you won't beat me with that stick at all. At all, brother.
That's true. And they still got that Save the Hampton House, GoFundMe out there. And, I think a plus side from this, that attention was brought to that. And I believe they was able to meet that goal. So, for the people that's out here that's watching, I think I could say that was the only positive out of this whole debauchery. But support the Hampton House, and learn that legacy. This is a month. This is a month where you could get it started. I know people say, "Oh, Black History Month is 24/7, 365." I don't believe you. You understand? I don't believe you. So you go 1 month at a time. Show me February. show me these 28 days in February that you can commit to educating yourself about your family, about your people, about those who came this way before you, and make it a point to make it better for those who come after you. You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you could do that with February, I could believe you in March. You see what I'm saying? If you could do it in 28 days, I believe you'll be able to do it in 31 days in March, 30 days in April. You know what I'm saying? 31 days in May, 30 days in June. Month to month. So all of this stuff we be talking about, and it's always somebody who got some great pontification about, what we got going on and what we shouldn't be doing and ain't doing shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, show me some evidence. They got all these social media challenges. Show me the Black History Month challenge. Show me where you educating your babies. You got it, and your children don't want nothing. You understand? No want nothing to do with it because of you and your fake zealotry and your fake passion and compassion. You see what I'm saying? You got these book challenges. You taking pictures of all these books. You ain't never opened them. You see what I'm saying? Like, it ain't nothing out there. You see what I'm saying? So like, this is for sure. Like, this becomes palatable and comfortable and great for us to sound like the great debunkers. We debunking everything. We got the history of Valentine's Day. Like, they people putting out the videos and all that old shit. Like, we came up with the books. Are you supporting Dr. Browder? And you know what I'm saying? Those brothers who put those books together, that's still around, that's amongst us, that's still here. You see what I'm saying? Like, did you support Dr. Mushabar Shango when he was talking about the history of European holidays?
Mm-hmm.
Did you deal with that? Like, did you support those people while they was alive? Are you supporting their families now? You see what I'm saying? Like, like you done got to this point. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to this point. Bobby Johnson paid for Malcolm X's funeral. You see what I'm saying? Did we really love Malcolm? Fred Hampton Sr.'s headstone gets shot up every year by police via police initiation every year since he transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
Annually. It's a ritual. Where your loyalty?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? If you ain't got no loyalty to your family in the first place, forget about even talking to me about any of that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no loyalty to your brothers and sisters, your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, but you can tell me everything. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, he used to eat grits, at 7 o'clock in the morning. And you on the internet calling your mother a coon because you done found some shit you think that's new. And you aware now. You arguing with your family. I had to block my cousin, because they got a Christmas tree. Where's that?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the passion and compassion and patience for your people that you claim you're gonna represent?
Facts.
You out here looking for allies. You talking you talking the black and brown conversation. They ain't talking the brown and black conversation. They don't give a good goddamn about you. So that Iran-Contra conflict, where the drugs came to all of our communities, where the fuck did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
It came from South America. It came from Southeast Asia. So these people you want to unite with, they responsible for your detriment.
Come on, brother.
They sold you drugs. Okay, the Arab, the Asian, and the brown people that y'all love so fucking much. They sold you drugs, destroyed your family, took your parents out of the home. You understand what I'm saying? Destroyed you not too long ago. I ain't going all the way back to ancient Kemet. We talking about the fucking 80s, in the 90s.
Facts.
You see? So these people you want to align with and akin with, because your conversation get real slick with that. We oppress people and people of color and all this old bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're here operating in your own best destruction daily.
Mm-hmm.
Daily. Like you looking at it daily. You see what I'm saying? This is why they had the separate neighborhoods. Take your black ass over to one of them neighborhoods. Go be Yusef Hawkins and see what fucking allies you got out here walking around. You understand what I'm saying? Like you, like this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Those people have an allegiance because they come from somewhere. They satellites from countries. So they here doing their work for their nation. You can't be heartbroken talking about Fred Hampton Sr. and his Panthers out here right now that you ain't support. That's saving people's lives. That was rescuing people when that hurricane hit in Houston, when that hurricane hit in Louisiana recently. You can't be telling me, all power to the people and free political prisoners, and you ain't wrote one. You ain't got no connection to no organization trying to free them. You see what I'm saying? It perplexes me. You see what I'm saying? Well, we can grasp that low hanging fruit and talk this shit. We can talk it, but there ain't no evidence. All of the old dude. All of the oaths of purity, the declarations of innocence. Your children don't know nothing. Children don't know who you are, where you come from. You see what I'm saying? You going in the house saying your mama wrong for Jesus and Christianity institution been around for thousands of years. She wrong for her Jesus. And you came from that woman you disrespecting because you done read some shit from you ain't even read nothing. You done watched some video from some drug addict. And now your mother who birthed you brought you onto this planet. You in conflict with her about a drug addict. About a functioning illiterate. He tearing up your home. He disrespecting the first book you may ever read or somebody may have ever read to you, the Bible, and you don't know a damn thing about it. The Quran, and you don't know a damn thing about it. You listening to some murmuring of some drug addict fiends pontificating in front of you and ain't never built you nothing. Ain't never gave you nothing. Right. Charge you for everything that you ever seen them. And they living high off the hog, capitalizing off of black suffering.
That's right.
And want to tell you about enemy. You come to me with Black History Month. You got a problem with Kwanzaa. These is actionable things that you can do at the lowest level possible and disseminate this information in a military fashion and train your family.
Exactly.
Your big ass 350 pounds Can't walk up, what Tad say, can't walk up a flight of fucking stairs and you got something to say about something. You see what I'm saying? Like, so this is the part where you can affect change. If you, where you are, you see what I'm saying? If you can't even tell your children your birth story, their birth story, what your parents did, that, in the house, and infuse in these military tactics, they hear what you say, but they watch what you do. Especially now. You can't hide now. Your ass is at home with them right now. They see you. They see what you try to hide. So we operated in that space of do as I say, not as I do for a long time. And this, by the grace of our creator and our ancestors said, oh, nigga, you can't hide now. I can see you now. I can see you the same way you say you see our enemy. And you don't respond appropriately. You got something to say and never nothing to do. Something to say and never nothing to do. Right. Never nothing to do.
No.
Ain't got no commitment to your family. So if you ain't got no commitment to your family, you ain't gonna have no commitment to no black woman or child that's out here, no black man, woman, or child that's out here running around, because it's not in you. Because that commitment ain't in you with your family. My older brother, he listening to me right now. I wish you would have opened your mouth against one of my sisters growing up. You understand? I wish you would have said something. You said, all you had to do was say your mother, and I'm knocking your ass to the concrete. That's it.
I know
he
that.
Used to do it, like, he used to do it for fun. Like, he used to get me in fights with, 5, 10 people. This who you going to fight today? Fight them or fight me? Oh, let's go. You see what I'm saying? So my younger brother and sister, all they had to do was go to school. All they had to do was go get an education. They wasn't interrupted. Their education wasn't interrupted. I ain't that much older than them, but I'd be damned if somebody came against them. And if somebody came against them, oh, it was the worst shit you could ever do in your life. So, I mean, as short-sighted as it was necessary. We didn't have no choice. We couldn't just be children. You see what I'm saying? Like many of us who was robbed of that innocence of having a childhood.
Facts.
Fighting grown men. You understand what I'm saying? Fighting, the way we grew up, but we grew up in that way to be prepared for the time now. And we see the difference between those who grew up in our fashion and those who had it light. They shooting as soon as they come outside. You see what I'm saying? They shooting since they come. As soon as they got outside, as soon as they were able to come outside with them snotty noses, they were shooting. And now you're in a position to where you think you can't relate to your little brother and sister out here. That's what you're looking at, your little brother and sister. Your children and your grandchildren walking around. You say, oh, something wrong with the youth. You ain't stepped to them. You ain't stepped to them to guide them, to build them and lift them up, because you ain't doing it with your children. So you ain't gonna do it with nobody else's children. You ain't got no connection to them. You don't even see your children as worthy enough to stand up and fight. To eradicate the threats. You understand what I'm saying? They started for me from a young child all the way up to a grown man. I looked at them observing Sister Keisha in them classes. Everybody came out for Pacific Islander month and Asian month. They came out deep. Their families was out. They was in their cultural regalia. They cooked food. They put the plays on and all that old shit. Black History Month, they wasn't talking to us. So I said, what's going on? We don't have the money and blah, 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 and this, and they put this on. I said, no doubt, I got you. We're going to do it ourselves. So it's y'all, we can do it. Well, we couldn't do it. They told my daughter and them in the school that we couldn't do it during school hours. Okay, well, we're going to do it in the after school program. So the after school program, we came to the damn after school program 100 deep. You understand what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden the school and the principal and everybody up in the place, they had something to do with it. Oh, they was there. Oh, they found the guest speaker all of a sudden. They found some money all of a sudden. You understand what I'm saying? So what is a better legacy when you start talking about how important black people are in our history and our connection, then now you seeing us stand in solidarity and saying we ain't with none of this bullshit out here. You understand? So
Facts.
when,
Facts.
when there was a situation in the school with the bullying, we went to the school to address the bullying. You see what I'm saying? So, like, where are you if your children are still there? Are you supporting these exit strategies, these institutions that's out here, like Q Butter School, like Baba Amin School, like Baba and Mama Baruti School, that are there as exit strategies to divorce us from these concepts of European colonial power and rule? Because that's what you're learning in school. This is what you get graded on. A mastery of regurgitating European domination and control over the world, whether it's the arts or the sciences. You see what I'm saying? So where's your connection to these people you claim you love? You taking them to the hospital. You understand what I'm saying? You taking them to the hospital and you taking them to the morgue. You taking them to the cemetery. You see what I'm saying? So you telling me, oh, I love Malcolm February 1st, 1965, blah, blah. You could espouse the date. He said, only a fool will let the enemy teach his children. You ain't love him. Because you ain't checked nobody that came in the meeting. You let his family come sit, pregnant woman, twins in her belly, 4 children on the front row, and allow them to witness their father and the husband be assassinated. You ain't love him.
Sucker move.
You taking pictures in front of his damn grave. Oh, no, rest in peace to the ancestor. You understand? We went up there to the grave. We went to Dr. Collins' grave. We went to Malcolm's grave.
Sucker move.
You see what I'm saying? That like this is the photo op because you was brought in by the photo op great. The photo op great. He in all of the pictures with all of our greats. Because we love a charlatan. We love a charlatan, and we go over there by the droves and the thousands, and he don't love us. You understand? He don't love us. Ain't no evidence of him loving us.
Facts.
But we there. You see what I'm saying? But we there. We there on the regular. Listening to him dismantle family traditions and things you was raised on. Make mockery out of it for views and YouTube checks, and we still support motherfuckers like that.
Crazy.
So then you got issue. When we talking about us coming together and collaborating around these things we were raised on foundationally. I don't see the evidence. I don't see the evidence enough.
That's right.
Out here taking losses, out here putting it all on the line, out here going after things, you understand? And then when they get hot, it's just like you said, Sister Keisha. They said, oh, Sister Keisha was a bad one. You see what I'm saying? When the police come get you, they on TV talking, they on the internet talking shit about you. Then when you come home, oh, my sister is home. You understand? Oh, my sister is home. Like, they really playing, and we allow them to play like that. We allowed them to play like that. When the streets was hot and this shit was ablaze, you ain't see them nowhere. Loved them, protected them, gave them imaginary posts. You general Emeritus. You understand? All of this stuff that's right here. And then functional organizations that have been out here for 90 years, 100 years. This is who you attacking. They done built up armies. They done built up schools. They done built up their communities. They're teaching their people. And this is who you attacking. You see what I'm saying? Like the brother that got up in the meeting and walked out the meeting when they was at that place they called Malcolm X College. He was walking out the damn meeting. You see what I'm saying? Because he told him the dashiki ain't gonna fucking save you. Yeah, the dashiki ain't gonna save you. You understand? Like, so when he talked about it from that perspective, oh, he got to change his approach. You see what I'm saying? Dr. Collins said the same thing with your mud club on and your kente on and you know all of this and all of that. And all that Africa on you and ain't no African in you. You see what I'm saying? And we still walking around with those people, even up to those people who took pictures with him and said that they loved him and they all turned their back on him.
That's right.
And they're gonna turn their back on us. You understand? They're gonna turn their back on us. They told the public that they thought that they was going to have to kill Dr. Huey Newton. And then when it comes to 17, 2 days from now, they're going to be talking about how much they love Dr. Huey Newton. You're going to see the profile pictures change. They're going to have him in the picture with this rat. You understand what I'm saying? With this snake, with this betrayer and this backstabber. You see what I'm saying? So that be the point of focus what I'm talking about in regards to what this factor is and how detrimental it is to the liberation of Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Your associations, who you associating with and what they represent.
Mm-hmm.
We got Black children dying, and then we got people say it don't matter who you love.
Wow.
Who you make family with.
Crazy.
Black children being exterminated. Miseducated. Oh, the shit, the school to prison pipeline, what happened? What's going to happen with them children? You see what I'm saying? Oh, we watching when they see us. What happens when we see them? Is it on site? Because it's on site when we see us.
Mm-hmm.
It's on site, no questions asked. They don't care if they walking with their 90-year-old grandmama. When we see us, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
But when we see our enemies, we get shook.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Joy DeGruy said that psychological imprint in regards to that post-traumatic stress when you see the police car behind you. You just get tight.
It's crazy,
You just
brother.
get tight. You see what I'm saying? So I definitely thank you, for coming on and giving us that truth in a way, whether it was uncomfortable for us or not. You see what I'm saying? In a way only that you could. And, I definitely honor you for your work and for your contribution in our liberation and subsequent works to come after, whatever you can speak on. I know you can't speak on much. You understand what I'm saying? Can't speak on much. But, for the family that's listening and they want to support you and what you do and your radio broadcast, that beautiful, thorough broadcast that you do. You understand what I'm saying? With the other Brooklynites, the other warrior Africans over there, let them know where they can find that and how they can get a hold of you.
Definitely, family. Just follow me, Brother Tab, Brother Ashe, on our social media pages, Thorough Black Talk. And you can view our broadcast every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. I'm always doing something in the community. I always put it out when I'm doing. And if you want to support that, by any means, it's not always financial. You can do that. Sometimes we need bodies on the ground to do some work. And if you're available, hit me up, shoot me a DM, and I'll get back to you in a timely fashion. Trust me when I tell you. But I want our family to walk away with this, that we have a lot of self-evaluation to be done. Start with yourselves. You can only do but so much for those outside of you, but it's your responsibility to share information. It's your responsibility to make sure that people around you understand exactly what your position is. Everybody who knows me, from family members to friends to foes, they know exactly what my position is. I don't play around with this. This is not a game for me. This is life for me. This is breath for me. And it has to be that way for you. I want you to reevaluate why it is that you give away your vote every year or every 4 years, every 2 years, wherever it is where you live at. Reevaluate yourselves and ask yourself, am I a Judas? Am I a Judas? It's okay. I'm not telling you to put it out there. Yeah, I was a Judas. Just reevaluate yourself and how you operate and do things. Wonder why you can't get results that you desire? Start from there. Get involved where you live locally. Everybody has an ability. Use your ability. I was, plucked by the great Leola Maddox, who came to me and put me in a position, not one, but 2 positions, and she said, you gonna run this. Just you gonna run this. I got faith in you. There was some stumbling blocks. I had to get over those hurdles. She was patient enough with me to get over those hurdles. Like you said, whenever I was upstate New York with those young ladies, those young children, you know, they literally would cry, brother, when I left. Tears flowing down their faces when I left. And I knew that I did the job that I was assigned to do. You know, whenever they would come back to meet their parents after that 2 weeks was off, I was always there to meet the bus. And when I see those young girls just burst off of that bus and everybody rushing to hug me to where I'm falling on the ground, I know that my job was done. Be active where you are. If you can't join an organization that's productive where you are, start one and take over where you at. And be no holds bars. Don't be apologetic about it. It's about freedom. It's about life, and it is about liberty. That's what's stated in the Constitution, as Fred Hampton said. That's what you're seeking, then be unapologetic about it. But keep your circle small. Be smart. Don't hide your wrongdoings. Put it out front so that nobody could use it against you. Work on you. Everybody has a role to play. I can't do what, Knowledge Born does. He can't do what I do, but we respect each other's position. You have to understand that. Don't get caught up in organizations and groups where you have people who act like dictators. And it's a top-down mentality. And they're going to tell you what to say, how to dress, what to eat, where to live. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous because no one will take you seriously. Be patient with our brothers and sisters. You have to be patient, but you also have to be forceful. Don't run away from what's comfortable to you. Make what's comfortable to you work for you. If you in the streets and you hustling, doing your thing, make sure that your stuff is protected. That means you got to make sure the people are protected because they're going to look out for you. I remember a time, Brother Knowledge, when something was heavy would go down in the street, we were told to go in the house, go upstairs, protect what you're doing out here. If you working your 9-to-5 job, be strategic. Don't tell these people all your business. They should know where you live, what your spouse do, what school your kid go to, where your grandmama live. Stop running your mouth so much. Learn and apply those lessons so that you can use it for your benefit. Everything in your arsenal should be used for this war, if that's what you claim. And war is politics, as Fred Hampton said. And politics is war. So either you can't run away from one or the other. You got to hit it straight on and head on. And so again, catch us every Thursday, 8 to 10 on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, and soon on Twitch. You'll catch us every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Thorough Black Talk with Tad, Keisha, and Ashe. So I bid you all a good night because I'm getting ready for the king to come home. I'm going to chill out for a while. I got a busy day tomorrow.
That's real,
my brother.
And my brother wanted me to tell you real quick before you go, Sister Keisha, that he love you and he respect everything that you put down here tonight. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to contend with him about it. You know what I'm saying? So he said, tell her I love her myself. You understand what I'm saying? So, hey.
I love you too, Black man. Thank you for the love always.
Yeah. So we out of here, fam. Salute to everybody who came through.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.